Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the new Tier 8 French supercruiser, the BA, or Blue Archive, Utnapishtim. That's the best I've got. I've thought about it. That's the best I can pronounce. I hope that that's somewhat close. But basically, all you need to know, this is a breast that doesn't have a reload booster, has a little bit better armor, and that's about it. So with that being said, let's take a look at our commander. We are running the new Blue Archive commander, Hayase Yuyuka. We have Norman Scott and Francesco Membelli on our inspirations. We have Beyond Range, Crisscross, Punch Through, and Asymptote. Good lord. These words are driving me crazy. But basically, for every 1% hit points lost, we get a little bit better damage, but we also get better reload time with this perk, which is nice. Now, obviously, once I get enough to upgrade it, I'll upgrade it. But this is not good. This is not as good for the breast as it is for the whatever this thing is, the Utna, because the other commander, Sariko or whatever her name is, she has a perk that allows you to reduce the reload time while reload booster is active. We don't have reload boosters on this, so we went with this. We are running fully packed for the extra heals. It does have a pretty decent heal. I think the breast does as well. Like, it's been a while since I played the breast, but it does have a decent heal, and you're gonna need it. All right, so as far as the build goes, it's pretty standard. Aiming systems mod 1. Propulsion mod 2. Don't really need a lot of steering gears because all your firepower's at the front, so you're not having to get broadsides up. So getting up to speed faster when you're stopped, or if you want to ambush something to go for a drive-by, that's what this thing is really good at, is just ambushing things. Now, we are running concealment system module, and we are running the main battery mod 3, but the epic version. And once again, if you guys ever want to upgrade, you put the module on there, so the main battery mod whatever, mod 3, and then you press X on it to upgrade it. As long as you have at least 500 steel, you can go to epic. I wouldn't personally waste my money on waste my steel on going for the legendary modules. To me, it's not worth the extra steel, but getting a little bit faster reload is pretty nice. So, and that's for every 30,000 damage that we do. Now, that being said, we do have defensive AA, which is nice. Haven't had a chance to use it yet. We do have 3 heals with this build. Kind of wish we had 4, but it is what it is. We don't have the heals, so it's a decent heal though. It's up there with battleships in terms of heals. It's not quite as good as like a super heal, but it's a decent heal. I think you end up with like 15 or yeah, I think about 15,000 health that you heal back, something like that. Engine boost though, you could swap this out for sonar, but I don't know why you would. This is going to help you in a number of cases get this boat out on a flank or ambush people. We're going to showcase a little bit of that in the video for you guys. We are running the Italian Unity flag because if you squint just right, it looks like an Italian, or it looks like a Spartan helmet, and the camo that comes with the ship. All right, for specs, you get 60,000 hit points with a 19% torque reduction. You've got 330 millimeter 52 caliber Saint Chamons. You get 8 of those in a 4x2 configuration where both turrets are at the front of the ship. Firing range with this build is probably the biggest downside, and that's 17.1 kilometers. But trust, with the ability this thing has to get out on flanks and set up its own crossfires, the 17-kilometer range doesn't usually come into play. Usually. Reload time starting out as 19.3, and like I said, the more damage you take, or I don't know if it's the more damage you take, the better your reload, but still, we get a 19.3 second reload right out the gate. 180-degree turn time is fantastic. If you've ever played the breast, then one of my biggest issues with the breast is that the turrets just do not turn at all. This thing, it actually is usable. 25.4 seconds, and that goes back to our commander. It has a crisscross, which allows us to get our turrets to traverse a little bit faster. Whereas on the breast, I believe that you end up taking another perk instead of crisscross. I don't remember which one it is. I want to say it's punch through. Could be punch through. But anyway, HE shell maximum damage 4,800 with a 35% chance to set fires. Most of the time, you're not going to be firing HE out of this thing. One, because you don't have enough shells to really like get multiple fires often. Most of the time, you're going to be sad if you shoot HE out of this. Now, obviously, there are situations where you don't have a choice, where things are bow in or whatever, and HE is the right choice in that situation. As a cruiser, you know how to swap AP and HE whenever you need, right? AP shell maximum damage, though, pretty nice at 10,476. Again, this is the big part of the Brest, all the super cruisers, really. Do not sleep on the AP. I see so many people out there playing super cruisers like the Alaska, the Azuma, the Stalinchad, all these ships, and they're all shooting HE, and it drives me crazy because they all have incredible AP, and they can absolutely send anything that decides to give it a broadside to the Shadow Realm. You've got battleship guns. Use them, right? But so many people shoot HE all the time, and it drives me crazy. Secondaries, you get 139 millimeter 50 caliber MLE 1938. You get 16 of those, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers with a reload time of 7 seconds, firing HE with a maximum damage of 2,000 and a 10% chance to set fires. AA damage. 20 millimeter 70 caliber Ehrlichen Mark 24s. You get 36 of those, doing 110 damage per second, but only out to 2 kilometers. 40 millimeter 56 caliber Bofors Mark 1. You get 8 of those, doing 45 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. 40 millimeter 56 caliber Bofors Mark 2. You get 16 of those, doing 64 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. And the 139 millimeter 50 caliber MLE 1938 dual purpose secondaries. You get 16 of those, doing 122 damage per second, reaching out to 5.2. So for a cruiser, not too bad, but it is the bulk of your AA is going to be flak at range, and then up close and personal, it's going to be the 20 millimeter Ehrlichens. But by the time they get into range to actually shoot anything, you're already being dropped. So just assume that you're not going to be able to shoot down planes until they're already dropping you. Same as usual. Maximum speed, 31.5 knots, but remember, you do have an engine boost that allows you to get a little bit faster. Turning circle is actually pretty good on this thing as well. 720 meters is pretty nice. 13.2 second rudder shift, and again, that seems really bad for a cruiser until you realize that most of the time, you're not needing to turn a whole lot. You can use your speed and your propulsion mod and your speed up, slow down to avoid most of the damage that you're going to take. And most of the other times, you're going to be able to use the armor, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Detectability by sea is 10.8. Detectability by air, 6.8. Guaranteed is always 2. And detectability while firing in smoke is 10.4. All right, let's look at the stats. Pretty decent win rate. Again, just a handful of games, not a whole lot. But one thing that you could take away from this main gun accuracy, I think this is actually more accurate than the Brest. I could be wrong. I haven't looked into it again. But just from my feelings, like I feel like I get a lot less shotguns with this compared to the Brest. The Brest will absolutely shotgun things occasionally. So, yeah, this doesn't seem to do that nearly as much. And we're going to showcase that in the video coming up. Now, as far as like everything else goes, it's feeling pretty good. I enjoy this. It's a tankier Brest, which just feels good. If you like the Brest, you're going to like this thing. So what is the big deal about this thing compared to the Brest? That is the 30 millimeter bow. Why is 30 millimeters important? Well, 30 millimeters can only be overmatched by anything 18 inches and above. So 457 millimeters and up. Okay, that's what overmatches the bow of this thing. So basically think your Georgias, your Proisans, you know, your Ohio, the Musashi, the Yama, that sort of stuff. That's the only thing that overmatches your bow. Now, don't get it twisted. You're still a cruiser, and that does come into play. Now, one thing that I will point out to you guys is watch the stern. I don't know why, but apparently the only place that I've been citadeled so far with this thing is the stern of the ship. I've had plunging fire come in, hit just beyond that rear turret, that rear secondary, and yeah, it absolutely citadeled me. So keep that in mind. Be careful when kiting away. This thing tends to have a French problem. And what do I mean by that? I mean, French are notorious for, as they're running, and this is not a knock on the French as a people. Say in the game, French are notorious for, as they're kiting away, taking citadels up the rear. That's just the way it works. I don't know why it is that way, but it is a problem that a lot of French ships have, is taking citadels through the rear. So keep that in mind. Anytime you're in a kiting position, you will be in kiting positions quite a bit, so you definitely want to avoid that if you can. All right, let's get rid of this. We'll showcase the turtleback armor. As you can see, it does have a turtleback. It also has a waterline citadel, so it is not the easiest thing in the world to citadel, which is going to protect you up close and personal when you go for the drive-bys and stuff, because this is a better turtleback than, say, like a Hipper or something like that, or you know, the German cruisers tend to have. It feels better than that, and I would imagine that's probably just due to the fact this is a bigger ship, but it's a cruiser. So if you get caught broadside, there's a chance, especially if you're turning, that you're going to take citadels. Other than that, let's go to the overview. Tough, above average base HP rating. Again, that just lends to the fact that this thing is a nice little standalone sort of ship. Get up into your crossfires, set up those beautiful shots while they're all fighting your teammates, and then take all of the heat from them. Full ahead can be equipped with engine boost, obviously, and then big guns. The ship is armed with high caliber main battery guns. Again, 330 millimeter guns. So that would be what, 11-inch guns? Or no, sorry, 13-inch guns? I think. The BA Utnapishtim's ship. This intergalactic battleship, it's funny that they call it a battleship, was first discovered in the desert by the Kaiser Corporation. However, the Foreclosure Task Force claimed it first and later used it to defeat the Ark of Atrahasis? Not sure how that would be pronounced. And save Kivotos. Okay, fair enough. Other than that, I like this skin a lot. I love contrast in ships, and this one also has like a nice cool blue like light coming out of it. This is what I like about it. I love the BA camos. I ain't gonna lie, the skins for the BA ships are top notch. When it comes to skins for the game, I think that the BA skins are some of the best in the game. But this thing looks fantastic. The white, the black, the blue, like, it just looks so freaking good. And it's such a sleek design too. I mean, just look at the way the superstructure and stuff is angled. Like, it's so sleek. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the breast to begin with, but this thing is just, it's so nasty looking. It's so nasty looking. In the right ways. So, with all of that being said, I guess it's time to get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on Trap, an apt name for what I'm about to do to this enemy team. Now, I haven't had the standout crazy game, mainly because all the games have just been raffle stomps. Again, like I feel like I say that every single episode now that I record. It's like every game that I played was a raffle stomp. That's just the way it is. Like, every game is over so fast. But I just want you guys to pay attention to what this thing is capable of in the short amount of time that this game goes on, right? Now, right off the bat, there's no destroyers, so there's no one to spot for the enemy team. There's no one to spot for our team, so we're going to have to spot with our face, which means we're going to have to play this a little bit passively, but not really. Now, there's a couple of enemy battleships on the enemy team that are somewhat potentially problematic. One of them is the Lenin, and also, I did turn on the National Plus voiceovers just long enough for you guys to hear the new commander's voiceover lines and stuff. She's, out of all of the commanders that have come in from the anime stuff or whatever, this one's not as annoying as others. But the problem with the National Plus is you hear everything. So if anybody has a crappy commander, you hear them all. Yeah, that's why I tend to stick with just regular national voiceovers. But that being said, we are going to push over to the right. Now, we're not using our engine boost right off the bat because I'm expecting that our cruiser here is kind of going forward. It tends to be a sneakier cruiser, so it's not a bad play to kind of take over the role of spotting. But you can see he kind of sits behind the island. He's dropping his torpedoes. Nothing wrong with that, just trying to protect the cap. It's fine. I was just hoping for a little bit of spotting, but you are going to see he is going to spot something right as we get ready to go behind the island here, which is always annoying. Like, it's like you play around just long enough for me to not be able to shoot anything. You see, I want to take a shot at this Lenin. I thought about the Buffalo for a second, and then by the time I do finally take a shot, it's too late. We're hitting that island. And that, again, just bodes to the fact that this thing's going pretty quick, right? We're doing 31.5 knots without the engine boost running. For the size of the ship, it moves pretty good. And the turning, like I said, the turning's not bad. You'll notice it when we go to make a full turn, that the turning can be a little bit sadness, but any other time, like if you need to wiggle, it's not too bad. But unfortunately, we just don't have the spotting, right? Our cruiser did manage to get himself spotted. Buffalo comes around the corner after firing his guns. He's way over-angled, and this is why I say this thing is a cruiser killer. All right, you do not sleep on these guns. You will be regretting it, because this thing will slash you. It will murder your face. Battleships, beware too. You give this thing a broadside, it's going to hurt you, just like the breast. Alright? It doesn't have the reload booster, but it's still going to hurt you. Now, you'll see that we do have the enemy cruiser over here that has the airdrops as well. The Harlem. But you can see he's over-angled, so we're going to go ahead and reach out. We get clipped by his airstrike, but we reach out and slap him as well. Didn't quite Citadel him, but that's fine. He shoots us with HE, and I just laugh at him. Again, like, HE hurts because it pins everything on our ship, but I would much rather see a Harlem shooting HE at my broadside than shooting AP. Now, here's where I want you guys to pay attention. We are going to try to do a full turn here because, again, there's a lot of firepower coming. The whole point of this ship is to set up crossfires. I can't crossfire if everybody's ready to shoot me, right? Like, if they're all bow tanking me, I'm not helpful. So I want to double back. I want to catch the enemy off guard, use our detectability to our advantage, and try to sneak up and slap people when they're not paying attention. And speaking of not paying attention, you can see the Lenin player on the enemy team is not an idiot. I want you guys to know that right out the gate, and that'll be very evident later on. But this Buffalo, I mean, you got slapped one way, you turned the other cheek, and you deserve this, brother. Wait for it. Pow! Like I said, cruiser killer. This thing definitely feels more accurate than the Breath did. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know, man. It feels pretty good. Even if I don't have the reload boosters, if I can get shots like that, I'm happy. Because not only am I going to be able to slap battleships that are giving me broadside, but cruisers, I mean, you're done. Like, what are you going to do? Now, our Tirpitz manages to hit the Mogami here, chunks him, and then, of course, I come through in. Honk. Cruiser killer, man. Don't get it twisted. Now, Lenin takes a shot at us. We're going to go ahead and turn in. We take a little bit of chip damage, and that's the thing that's going to frustrate battleship captains a lot. Is just most of the time, you're not going to do much of anything. Maybe some overpins, maybe you get a penetration into the superstructure or something like that, but most of the time, it's going to be pretty sadness. Now here, I'm setting up a kiting position again, because you'll notice that the enemy Lenin has decided I'm the threat. There's a Tirpitz rushing him from the right side of the island, and he knows it, but I'm the threat. Now, the Bismarck, again, never going to be the biggest threat in the world. We're going to turn away from the Lenin here. He's going to get some good ship damage on us, but again, all we're trying to do, we're trying to bide our time and draw them in. Because at this sort of engagement, the battleship's going to have the advantage. I don't really have any way to do a lot of consistent damage to a bow-end Lenin. He doesn't have a huge superstructure for me to farm. He's not broadside. Like, it's going to be hard for me to get that huge damage. But once again, proving that cruiser killer. Do not get it twisted. Now here, I thought I was using the island pretty well to avoid taking damage, and I get pretty lucky because I'm in the middle of a turn. Fortunately, he shot too far to the back, so he didn't Citadel us. But yeah, I was in the middle of a turn. Had he, you see how much roll we have with this ship? Had he managed to shoot a little bit further forward, I think he would have hit the island. But right now, what you're going to be noticing is that I'm setting up an ambush. I am not afraid of that Lenin in a drive-by scenario. Now, we take a shot at the broadside of the Bismarck here. The Bismarck's going right at our Tirpitz. That's a battle that the Bismarck can't win. At least he shouldn't win, if that Tirpitz has any idea what the hell he's doing. But this Lenin, I mean, there's not a whole lot he can do, and he plays this about as well as he could possibly play this. Because he's coming straight forward, but something in his brain goes, man, that other cruiser should have been spotted. And he's going to get himself spotted, but not spotted, but stopped. But not only stopped, by the time I get in there, remember, I'm running engine boost, right? So I am full steam ahead coming in for this man's. And I'm going to try to hit his guns because he just fired his guns. We're going to come around the corner. You can see he just fired. We're going to come around the corner, try to hit those guns, maybe knock them out. Unfortunately, don't manage to knock him out. Do get a little bit of chip damage in the superstructure. But right now, you can see I'm crossing the T. He just fired. I've got time. I got to stay angled once we come around the corner. But he manages to get himself stopped and reversing faster than I can actually close the distance and get around him, despite having propulsion mod and engine boost active. Like, what? What is this freaking linen made out of? Like, this man's got freaking goofy speed in reverse. Like, I don't get it. But you can see he's already pre-turned his turret, so I'm trying to stick nice and close because I don't want him to be able to aim far enough down, and unfortunately we pulled the trigger a little early. Now, I don't want to ram the guy, but you can see he gets some overpins or maybe penetrations on us, but doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. He's going to take some torpedoes for his trouble, and then we're going to drive right on by. And again, we don't want to go too crazy here. We just want to turn the corner. He can't shoot us anymore. And then we're going to get our guns on target. We're going to aim this straight into the superstructure, and of course, in true Spartan fashion, leave him with just enough for our fire to get the kill. And that's the game, folks. That's how quick it happened. And I think you can understand pretty well from that game, like, what this thing is, right? It's an ambusher. It is a cruiser killer. It's a get out on the flank and be a problem. 117,000 damage, a dev strike, lots of citadels. Like, this thing is going to be a fun ship if you enjoy the Brest or the supercruisers in general. Let me know what you guys think. And also, do you guys agree with me that the Blue Archive ships are some of the best looking ships skins that we have in the game? Let me know. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.